So I think the questions we ask ourselves are really important. Not, do I have a problem? Do I need to stop? Am I an addict? But rather, could life be better if I tried something else?
Welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roars, your host, and hey, thanks for joining me today. I'm here just to pour some positive back into your day with practical tips and stories to encourage and inspire. So let's dive in. Hey friends, welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. I'm Lisa Roars, your host, and today my guest is a sweet friend, Marci Rossi. She is a strategic business coach who helps entrepreneurs cut through the chaos and build businesses that really work for them. But like most of us, Marci's story goes way deeper than just what she does for work. It stemmed from her own story, and she knows firsthand what it means to step away from old habits and labels. And in her case, it meant taking an intentional step away from alcohol, not because she had to or it was causing any major problems in her life, but just because her life could be better without it. Her journey and her services are all about freedom, freedom in life, freedom in business, to accomplish what we want to, a better version of ourselves. You're going to be so encouraged by this conversation. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Hello, and welcome back to the Sunshine Cafe. We all have something that has a hold over us. In fact, there's always something that kind of feels like it defines us until we decide it doesn't, because we have control over that. And I love that my guest that's here today with us has conquered one of those defining things in her life. And she has such an encouraging story. She's also a beautiful business strategist for the clients she works with, becoming, I love what she says on her website. She is the wizard that makes all the business back end easy and doable and makes life more simple. So with no further ado, I want to welcome you to the show, Marci Rossi. Thanks for being with us.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me here.
So let's talk first about those defining moments, because I know whether you're in business, whether you're working for a corporation yourself, you're a mom, you're a wife, you're a father, whatever it might be, we all have these labels that we put on ourselves or that we pick up throughout the years of our life. And you had a couple labels that were not only defining, but a little bit like bringing you down. Let's talk about what those were and kind of introduce that story about how you conquered them.
Yeah, for sure. So I have a couple labels, some that I like applying to myself, some that I didn't so much, and some that I thought I did and that I realized that could be kind of rephrased as we go along. So for one thing, I was the straight A student growing up. I'm a perfectionist, like I'm a person that gets things done. And so this was something I always took pride in, like my ability to figure things out. I excelled academically, definitely not athletically, but academically and in school and in work, I was going to do a really good job and I could be relied on for that. So that's something I took a lot of pride in, this ability to be a self-starter, independent, and a person that gets things done. And I also really like to have fun. So I take life seriously and I take my fun seriously as well. And so I love to party. I love to celebrate with my friends. I love to, go out and enjoy things. And so a person that was the life of the party was a label I didn't really have a problem with. And it was fine. But, it really started to compete with the other aspect of my life, right? They kind of started to meld together. So this person that was really driven was someone who also I became a lawyer. I started working at one of the big 4 accounting firms. Like I was doing well professionally, and then afterwards would be drinking to deal with the stress and emotions and frustrations and just to let loose afterwards. And honestly, those 2 things don't play well together. They feel like they do in the moment because you're getting that opportunity to relax, let go, etc. But then that carries over to the next morning. It carries over to how you feel about yourself. It carries over when you accidentally say something stupid in front of your boss or in front of, your colleagues, whatever, and you have to deal with that going forward. So there was a bit of a competition there. And the other thing was I wasn't happy in these roles. Like, yeah, it's nice to be able to say I'm a lawyer, that I worked at, at a big 4 accounting firm, but I wasn't happy. Something was always missing. And so I kept moving from job to job or career field to career field, and nothing ever fit. And so I felt out of place. I felt like I should be able to handle this. And I was using alcohol to numb that frustration, that annoyance that, other people had it all figured out or they at least tolerated their jobs. And I was drinking just to be able to handle it. So there are a couple labels in there that I took some pride in, but I know that were also costing me, right? The person that cares too much what other people think about her in her profession, it's going to have some negative effects down the road. So I was using alcohol to cope. And eventually that party girl, it went a little too far. It didn't fit anymore. I'm growing up. I don't want to be the person that's hungover. Like I spent far too many weekends on the couch just trying to survive, like live, right? Like not have a headache, etc. So yeah, I decided to pursue a different path, and I'm happy to dive into that more if you'd like.
Yeah, well, would you say that your path and I mean, there's so much there too, Marcy, and
Yeah.
I really want to honor you and appreciate your vulnerability because I think this is a topic that affects a lot of us, especially since, it doesn't feel like it's a problem when we just have a couple glasses of wine a night or maybe one or two drinks with the friends from the office every night. But it just kinda sneaks up on us when we're not paying attention. It kinda sneaks up on us. And so, would you say that you considered yourself having a drinking problem, or was it just kinda starting to, distract you from the things you wanted to accomplish?
I think that's an interesting question because I find a lot of people, when they're coming to the point that I did, they'll take quizzes like, am I an alcoholic? Or, what are the signs? And honestly, those signs didn't fit me. I wasn't getting arrested. Didn't have any DUIs. My job was just fine. I was promoted in the first 6 months of my job, and I was really doing well. My relationships were fine. Like everything was fine. I didn't meet the criteria. And so to me, I got to be able to say that, no, it's not a problem.
Okay.
Right. But problem could be defined, like, is it a problem if you only have a drink a couple times a week? Well, no, but is it a problem if you only have fast food once or twice a week? I mean, maybe no also, but could life be better if you didn't? I think that's a better question for us. Like, is it a problem? Maybe not, but could life be better if we didn't do this? Could life be better if you weren't marginally, increasing your risk of cancer? If you weren't ever having a hangover ever again in your entire life? If you weren't spending 40, 60, $100 at the bar once a week. Could life be better if you weren't doing these things? And I think that's a better question we need to ask ourselves because a lot of the times when we focus on, is it a problem or do I have a problem? Do I need to quit? We'll look for excuses not to. For me, I passed quote unquote that quiz that I was not an alcoholic, which is a word I don't use anyway. I passed that, so I didn't need to go further. I could say I'm not an alcoholic, check the box, and I'm just going to keep, drinking on Friday nights or having a glass of wine after work or whatever that thing is. So I think the questions we ask ourselves are really important. Not, do I have a problem? Do I need to stop? Am I an addict? But rather, could life be better if I tried something else?
That is such a good point, Marcy. That is such a good point, especially because as human beings, it takes a lot to get us to change. And so, if we have any reason, any excuse to stay stuck where we are because it's not that bad, or I don't have a diagnosis yet, or, my health isn't that bad yet, we won't change. Like, how many times we all know what we should and shouldn't eat. We all know, I mean, if you ask yourself, I even hear people joking, oh, I shouldn't probably have another one, but I'm going to. We know those things in the core of who we are. And yet, until you have like a diagnosis, like, okay, now you have stage 3 cancer, and now you really need to focus in on it, we don't make that change. So I think that's a really enlightening thing that could our lives be better if we just made better choices? Could we feel better? Yeah, I feel pretty good. But what if we made some changes? How good could I feel if I took ownership of that and stopped letting the substances or the habits control me and start taking ownership and controlling them?
It's really interesting to bring up that cancer diagnosis, like waiting until we're forced to make a decision. Because I'll be honest, there were times in my life where I was almost wishing I would be forced to make that decision. Not necessarily around alcohol. I struggled a lot with finding what that career was that I was supposed to be doing because everybody else seemed to have it figured out. And I, was doing what made sense for my skills and it just didn't fit. And I'm wasting time during my day doing something I don't love doing. So there were times I would wish that I had an excuse not to go to work. And to wish that you're sick or to wish that something happens to you is just insane, right? This should be like a flashing headlights, stop, pause. We need to make a different decision here. But I didn't feel like I could,
Mm.
right? I had done all of this school, I've done lots of schooling. I've done all of these things. Like I should be happy where I'm at, but I'm not. So I'm just going to keep trucking along. So again, allowing ourselves that permission to try it. And I think that it's important to really put an aspect of discovery on this, right? To just see what happens. I don't ever tell anybody that first of all, I never tell anybody that they should quit drinking. Everybody can do whatever they want to do as long as they're not hurting anybody else. But it's not an approach of I'm never going to drink again. It's just right now, why would I want to? Like, what would possibly be the reason for that? Because I've changed my beliefs around alcohol. So recognizing that our behaviors are a result of the beliefs that we have, both about ourselves and about the substance or the activity or whatever that is. And we get to change those, can change our lives. So doing it as an experiment. And that's actually how the alcohol, the decision to quit drinking came about because I did a dry January one year. And I think actually I've done it several times, but the first time, someone had a birthday and I had a really hard day at work one of those two times. So those two times I drank that month didn't really count. And I did it, year after year. And one time I made it the entire 31 days, never drinking, but I was thinking about drinking and I was counting down until I could celebrate, quote unquote, this 1 month with a glass of wine or whatever that was. And that to me was something I also didn't really want to concede. It was conceding control to a substance. And that's another label that I missed, but that I wear proudly. I'm a control freak, I'll be honest. Like I like to have my hands in all the pies. I like to do things myself. I'm very independent. And so to say that I needed something or to like want something, to obsess over something and to think about it, give it all that brain space, it just didn't align with this independent woman I've always claimed to be. So that was the wake up call that, you know what, I actually do need more support with this. And that's where I found a coaching program in order to get through this and work on those beliefs. I think that's the most effective way to have lasting change is to evaluate the beliefs that lead to the behaviors.
Absolutely, because it all really starts in our minds, doesn't it, Marcy?
Yep.
It's like how we think about things, what filter we look at life through. That is really, I mean, that's what decides what dreams we want to pursue and what kinds of capabilities we think we have. I love that you mentioned the freedom aspect because how free are you really if you can't say, no, I don't really want any wine. Thank you very much. I'll have a soda water. You know,
Yeah, I think a lot of people would argue, like, oh, I can drink whenever I want. That's freedom. But I think you're ignoring the fact that you want to do something you know is bad for you. That is not freedom. Why do you want to drink when you're out with your friends? Is it because you don't think you are sociable enough, because you get too nervous, because you need that liquid courage, because you think that you're not going to have as much fun without it? That is a very limiting belief. To say that I'm not as much fun or I can't have as much fun without alcohol means that you are less than, that alcohol somehow makes you better. That's not freedom. That's need. That's not want. So keeping in mind that like the ability to do something, it's only when we want something that's going to somehow add to our lives and not take away, that is where true freedom is. So really evaluating why do you want it? What is the actual need there?
exactly. You know, these kinds of changes, Marcy, I think are applicable to all of us because you actually mentioned food and we all have something that kind of has a hold over us. And it could be a habit, it could be even work, it could be a workaholic. So there's a lot of things that kind of have control over us. But it's challenging, isn't it? Because it's not like a switch that you can just turn on or off. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to be a different person, switch. No, it doesn't kind of work like that. It's a slow process of change and it's not linear. So you've got some good days, some bad days. So it's whether the trend is moving toward who you want to be and not like, okay, starting tomorrow, I'm going to be a brand new person. And I think we, especially with food, we always have that tendency to, oh, I'm going to start Monday. It's going to be a fresh new start. So how did you navigate that process of changing over time?
Yeah, so I actually joined a coaching program, and the foundations of this coaching program is to change your beliefs around alcohol so that way the behaviors change afterwards, right? Some of our beliefs are just wrong. They're just not based in science, right? Alcohol helps you relax. Well, actually, it raises adrenaline and cortisol in the body. That's why if you drink, you may have woken up at like 2, 3 in the morning, your heart is racing. That's when that cortisol is spiking, that adrenaline is spiking in your body. And so it's not actually helping you relax. It is this, their studies are out there that baseline cortisol levels are higher when you drink than when you don't. So in the moment, it may feel relaxing, but your body compensates for that by releasing the adrenaline cortisol. So some of them it's just science based, and then you get to test for yourselves. When you start to see these studies or challenging beliefs, we get to experiment. Do I actually feel more relaxed? Maybe in the moment, yes, but then at 3 a.m., no. And then I'm not going to be relaxed the next day because my sleep is broken. So sometimes we can take beliefs like this and just with facts and science turn them around, and then maybe we won't rely on it the next time we're stressed. Other beliefs are a little bit harder, right? Like I can't scientifically prove that I'm funnier or less funny without alcohol or that I'm more outgoing or these things. Some of them, they just kind of have to be experienced. And so that need of, I need to have a drink when I'm in social situations because I'm just a little awkward, it loosens me up. Again, it's giving power to a substance. It's saying that we are less than, we are less sociable, we are less interesting to talk to, whatever that belief is there without something. and giving that a shot and trying to see if that's actually true, right? So it's bit by bit. It's not an overnight thing. And I will also say that your behavior is not going to change simply from abstaining for a certain amount of time. I think we can think if I can just go X days, if I can just do this thing, but you're going to fall back into the patterns of the person you believe you are. If you start going to the gym every Monday and you're like, okay, if I can just do it for 21 days or whatever that 60 days, whatever that habit is, I'll be that person that goes to the gym. But unless you believe that you're a person that takes care of your body, that wants to be healthy, these kind of things, this first time that something pops up on that Monday morning when you're supposed to go, you'll let yourself slide, and then it is just a downhill slide from there, right? You're reverting back into who it is that you believe you are. We can't change our beliefs of who we think we are overnight. It takes time. First, we have to know what those beliefs are, and then we have to see how those beliefs are impacting us and what kind of beliefs we want to have and work on it that way. So it's not an overnight process. I think having a coach is really helpful because we are working on shaping those beliefs. It is not like a lot of other programs, which are solely on the behavior, right? If I just lock you up in rehab for 30 days, if I just force you to go to 100 meetings, if I just make you do the one thing, you'll stop wanting it. But that's not the results from those types of programs. The ones where you literally stop wanting things, where you change your identity, that comes from this belief work.
Exactly. That's such a good point. Those mindset shifts are what put us onto a whole different track, whole
Yeah.
different path. So we can get the skills and we can get the knowledge, but you don't change until you change the mindset. It's all there.
Yeah,
So
and it's scary, right? To have a new identity. It's scary to be a new person, to be not to be the person that's like, you know, doing crazy things at a party or to be a little bit too wild, like to be a different person, the person that has no problem going to bed at 10 p.m. because she wakes up and she has things she wants to do the next day. She's not wasting her weekends on the couch. Like, I'm just a different person now. And I think it's also really hard because you can't envision, maybe it's a little challenging to envision what you've never had, right? To say, okay, it feels better to not ever drink, it's hard for me to really put that into words for you until you experience it yourself. And that's where I think experimenting can really come into play. You don't have to say, I'll never drink again. You can just say, I wonder what life would look like if I didn't, and start to experience the benefits and then make a decision from yourself there. But yeah, that identity piece, man, it's hard. It takes a little bit of time. But when we make choices that are in alignment with our best selves, the best things come from that.
exactly, that's so true. And so many of those labels that we assign to ourselves were actually planted there by maybe not so good influences from our family, friends, or things or experiences that we had earlier in life. And so it's a really good exercise to take stock of those thoughts and decide which ones do I want to maintain and which ones do I want to just leave aside and move past. And so that's great. And then there's the whole, you mentioned like the whole what I want to do after hours versus what I want to do in the morning to make an impact in the world.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't want to discredit that your friends are fun. Those nights out with your friends, the reason it's fun is not the beer. The reason it's fun is not the glass of wine. It's the people.
The
And so
people.
why can we not still have those events with the same people? We can still go out. We don't have to go to a bar if we don't want to, but you absolutely can and just not order something alcoholic. But then you get to actually remember the things that you did. You get to have real conversations with people. You get to stop making fake friends in the bathroom as you're both just drunk. Like these are real evenings and you get to keep the memories from them, which is truly valuable. So I don't want you to think that like if you stop drinking now you just have to work all the time or go save the world. Those are great and more power to you if you go that way. But like remembering if you think you're giving up fun because you're not drinking with your friends, what is the fun there? If it's just the alcohol, there's no reason to have the friends. You can just drink at home and have fun. But it's the people. It's understanding where are these beliefs coming from. I can't have fun if I don't drink. Well, then now you're saying that the alcohol part is fun versus the friends. And to go back to the labels too, I think just reiterating that you have the power to do what you want with that label. So some people accept it as like a this is the end, right? So, if my parents drink, my grandparents drink, like I'm an alcoholic. And other people will see that as like, I refuse to accept this because my grandparents drink and because my parents drink, I'm not going to. Right. My mom, she had a teacher tell her, I think it's so interesting, these labels that get applied to us that we keep so hard. But like in elementary school or something, someone told her, you're not meant to go to university, right? She has like 3 degrees. She's a doctor. Like you take it and you say, you know what? I'm not going to let you limit me. So you can choose to let that label limit you, or you can choose to write your own and just let it go. Because if
Yeah.
it's not serving you, sometimes labels serve us. If calling yourself an alcoholic keeps you from drinking, more power to you. I'd rather just do what it is that I want to do without having the name attached to it.
So the mindset shift has really served you well. You have taken that whole change, got out of the job that you were doing that wasn't serving you well when you were thinking and hoping for every excuse you could to get out of the world of work. So tell us a little bit about how the shifts that you've made are now giving you a life you love.
Yeah, so I it was hard because I could not figure out that next step. I've made lots of shifts in my life. I've lived in different countries. I've tried a bunch of different jobs and nothing was clicking. And it wasn't until I saw the power of coaching firsthand, which was not something I even recognized existed outside of like the sports world.
Right.
And so I decided that I wanted to try this too. And that involved starting my own business, which was never anything that was on my radar. In fact, I was in business school and I remember filling out the application and I applied and said I wanted to be a CEO because for my goals, I've always imagined myself a leader, but not from my own idea. I'm not a creative person. I just want to run the thing when someone else started it. So starting my own business was something that was never on my plate. And I think I never would have had the courage, the desire, the insight, the tuition, the whatever you wanna call it, to actually try the thing if I were still drinking, because I allowed myself to be complacent. I allowed myself to deal with the fact that I wasn't that happy, hope that, something, knock on wood, would actually come up so that I didn't have to go to work, and otherwise just exist. And so by taking this chance and starting my own business, my life has completely changed. I was originally helping people do the same thing that I had, which was quit drinking through coaching. And I got so obsessed with all the little business pieces and setting up my website and figuring out Facebook ads and doing all these little things that people started asking to pay me to advise on their businesses. And so that's where I shifted that model. I'm obviously passionate about alcohol-free living, but I had so much fun playing with all the little business pieces and, like, couldn't fall asleep like a kid at Christmas thinking about what I was gonna do the next day, that I decided to pivot, and it has been absolutely fantastic. It's something I've never imagined. I've tried a bunch of careers. I've taken all the career tests. Never once did it ever say you should be an entrepreneur, and I am so happy now. Again, going back to that control label, I get to do exactly what I wanna do during the day. That was one of the hardest parts in all of my jobs, was the limit to the amount of effect that I could change that I could affect, right? I There was always someone who would have to approve something. Even when you're a leader, there's always a stakeholder involved. And for right now, this is my business. I get to do what I want to do. I don't want to work the rest of the day after this. I don't have to. And so it's just been a much better fit for my personality and something that I honestly never would have tried if I hadn't allowed myself the benefit of seeing what an alcohol-free life could look like.
Right. Well, and I love that you said that you pivoted your business after taking action. So it was the action that actually revealed to you after you had done that one side of coaching for a while to shift into a business side of coaching. So it's like we don't learn what we want to do and what we're great at until we start doing things and then giving ourselves that permission to pivot and try something different or change the focus. That was such a powerful move for you.
Yeah, because confidence comes from action. I think we wanna feel confident in our next decision first, but the only way you're gonna feel confident is if you take that step, right? So I did the business. I wasn't very confident in the beginning. I was excited and curious to see where it was going, but it wasn't until I started doing the thing that I was like, "Oh, actually, this is the piece that I really love." So if we're holding ourselves back from doing something that we're interested in because we don't feel confident yet, I promise you that confidence is gonna come when you take that action, when you do some experimenting, when you try and see where it's gonna go. You'll either be assured that yes is the right next step for you, or that you tried it, it wasn't, and you can stop wasting time dreaming about doing something and picking that next right step for you. So, yeah, keeping in mind that confidence comes afterwards, is a really key part.
Absolutely. Yeah. Oh, action precedes the feeling is what I used to always tell myself.
Yeah.
You're not going to feel like doing it until you take some action. So
Yeah.
awesome. I do want to get to a couple of the other things, the awesome offerings that you have as well.
Yeah.
And I also want to get to some, maybe a couple pieces of advice that you would have for somebody who wants to get started on making that change, whether it's alcohol-free life or growing a business or whatever it may be. So let's make sure we get to that too. But let's talk a little bit about you've got a podcast, which I think is such a great name. And for anyone listening out here who's just loving Marci Rossi, she's got so many great insights via her podcast that she sends out every week. I think you do a weekly, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So, and it's called Thrivers Ed. And given that I have a son who is learning how to drive, it kind of, has a nice play on words of the driver's ed, but the Thrivers Ed, I think, is just such a great name. Tell us a little bit about what that platform is and what people can learn or gain from watching it or listening.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for mentioning that. Yeah, I love a good pun. I am a nerd. I got a dictionary for my birthday one year. So finding that there was not Thrivers Ed already out there, I'm like, that's taken. Because originally, my business was focusing on these high achieving women like myself. And I've kind of pivoted my model again as I go through, but thrive was a word I was tossing around a lot in the beginning. And the goal of the podcast is really to help people live their best lives, primarily those who are running their own businesses and learning some of the tips and tactics they may not be aware of. But it also expands into other topics as well, right? That kind of benefit the person that's behind that business. So yeah, it's new-ish. We're maybe 30 some odd episodes in, and it's a lot of fun. I do some myself, and I get to interview some really amazing people and have some great guests on my show. And so that's a lot of fun.
Yeah. Well, you have a unique perspective, and I think it's one that really resonates with me as well. And that is the whole person is what matters. And it's like you can't be your best business person if you are, for what you had said earlier, if you're waking up hungover in the morning. You can't be your best mom, wife, whatever label it is that you have, friend even. You can't be your best friend if you're not available to show up because of health reasons or addictions or whatever it may be. So I love how you integrate the whole person in the success of business when you're coaching people and helping them understand how to make, like you said, what if life could be better? I love that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, if every piece of something is working at its fullest, obviously that's going to have your best results. If you have a company and the sales team is crushing it, but your HR team is terrible and they're hiring the wrong fit people and, the manufacturing people are not giving their all, you're still not going to do the best. You may have a lot of sales, but you'll probably have a lot of refunds. So it's only when all parts of the organization or all parts of the self are really giving it's 100% that you're going to have your best outputs. I mean, I like to joke that going alcohol free is the ultimate business hack that not a lot of people know because you can't imagine the increased focus, the increased energy, the excitement, the drive, the relationships that you're not like losing or jeopardizing because you said something stupid when you're drinking. Like it's the ultimate hack for you. So yeah, keeping in mind that the person that shows up and does the actual task is only one piece of it. We have to think about the entire organization, meaning our bodies, and that affects how we show up in our business, in our lives, around people. So, yeah, it's definitely a comprehensive view.
Yeah. And it's so rewarding, isn't it? It's just so rewarding to make those changes in your life and to look back. I was just thinking about that actually this morning. It's like, wow, yeah, I have actually made a ton of changes in my life. And I think we need those moments to pause and look back and say, wow, look at how far I've come because it isn't linear, because it isn't a flip of a switch. We do need to just have those moments where we take an inventory and kind of celebrate the changes and the wins that we've been able to have over the last few years. So that's awesome.
Yes, with a view of not penalizing that past version of yourself, right? Like, yes, I've grown, and it was through those experiences that I was able to have this growth, that I'm able to be where I am now. And you get to appreciate it more because of where you've been, right? If it were always easy, if you've always been that way, you're not gonna have that same level of appreciation of like, man, I changed my entire life with one decision, right? Like that was it. It was a one decision of I'm not gonna let alcohol control me anymore, and my entire life has changed as a result. Do I wish there were some evenings or situations that hadn't happened? Yeah, absolutely. But that's where that pride comes from now, that knowing I took a situation that was not great and completely changed everything about it
Yeah.
because I cared enough about me and my future. Not just we love to penalize that future version of us of we'll start Monday or, I'll do it later. And it's like that future version of you, let's take care of her too, right? We can take care of our present self and we can take care of the future too.
Yeah. And all of those experiences that we've had, Marcy, right? They all make us who we are. And they give us, I don't know, really unique tools where now when you're working with somebody who is struggling with that, you're 10 steps ahead of them and you can help bring them along because you really truly understand exactly where they're at. And so I think those regrets, maybe you call them regrets or experiences that we have of our former life can actually become kind of a superpower for what we're doing in our future life if we learn how to take control over it and change and then look at it for the value that it was. Okay, it's shaped me for who I am. I know now not to make certain mistakes. I don't beat myself up because I touched the stove. I just know I'm not going to touch the stove next time. So, or at least I'm going to make sure it's cool, right? So it's those kinds of past experiences don't have to be a drag on our self-image. They can be kind of a superpower to help us make a change and help other people who are maybe a few steps behind us also on a similar journey.
Yeah, I mean, the tree doesn't begrudge nature for the storms and the winds that it puts it through, but it's through those things that it develops the strong roots that allow it to grow and to withstand future events. So just recognizing that you're growing roots each time you go through something that's challenging, it's making you stronger as a person so that you'll be better able to withstand what comes next for you. So just looking at it, you're the tree.
Yeah. You're the tree. We are
You're
the
the tree.
trees, man. I love that analogy, actually. I like trees. And they have such deep roots and they grow
Yeah,
those by suffering the winds and
exactly.
the pressures. So it's such a good analogy. Well, my friend, what if someone's listening today and maybe they don't think they necessarily have an alcohol problem and they're trying to kind of wrestle with that? Well, I wonder if life could be better. Could you give some kind of some tactical, practical couple of steps? Where would they start to try to move them toward a life that's maybe better?
Yeah, well, you named the first one right there. It's rephrasing that question. Not do I have a problem, but could life be better? What could life look like? Having this curiosity and approaching it openly, I think is the first thing there. So if you're asking yourself, if you're coming at this of do I have a problem, you'll find an excuse not to try.
Mm,
But if you're open and you remain curious, I think that is the absolute key for any behavior you want to change. What would life look like if I didn't eat sugar all the time? What would life look like if I was more active, et cetera, right? So finding those things, being open and curious. Number two, are there's some really great resources. If we recognize that our behavior is based on our beliefs, we need to figure out what those beliefs are. So you can do this through journaling. I know for alcohol, there are two really amazing books. Alan Carr, he came up with the easy way to help people stop smoking, and he's come up with a bunch of different books on basically any behavior thing that you want to change, but he really confronts those beliefs. And then the other book, which I actually like even better, is called This Naked Mind from Annie Grace. She runs a big organization and that helps people change their behavior around alcohol. And again, what both of these things do are help you recognize the beliefs that you may not even realize you have and helps you to change them. So if that is a particular struggle that you have, those are two really great resources. But if not, I would say using number one and being open and curious, investigating what beliefs you have that are driving the behavior and seeing if we can reframe those. And honestly, you can use ChatGPT. If you don't have a coach, you can just sit there and ask questions of like, here's what I believe. What would be a more beneficial belief for me to have in order to XYZ, whatever that thing is. And then the very last one is the lesson that I had learned throughout all of this. And it is that you can do hard things. I promise you, you can do hard things. I thought giving up alcohol was going to be one of the hardest things I've done. And it was. It was challenging and not challenging at the same time, right? Like letting go of some of those aspects was letting go of some of those beliefs wasn't that hard, but changing my identity, figuring out who it is that I really want to be in this world, it's difficult work, but you can do hard things. I wish I had known back then how strong I actually am, and going through something allowed me to see that. But I promise you, no matter who you are, you can do hard things.
that is a great reminder, Marcy. Thank you so much. You have a wealth of wisdom and far too much that we could tap into in just a short podcast episode. But I just want to really encourage people to go out there and find your podcast, Thrivers Ed. And if they want to work with you, you've got a beautiful website with all kinds of resources and insights. So tell people how they can find you.
Yeah, for sure. So my website is my name, marcirossi.com. I have shifted out of that alcohol freedom aspect and am now working with people who did what I did, realize they want to start their own businesses and helping get those set up. But if you have questions about the resources that I use to help change my life around alcohol, you can send me a message right there on my website. There's a little chat button at the bottom, and that's me. It's not an assistant. It's not an AI bot. It's actually me that you'll be chatting with, or send me an email or reach out on Thrivers Ed, whatever you want to do. I'm happy to connect and point you in the right direction if it's not going to be me.
Okay, that sounds great. Marcy, thank you so much for your time, your insights, and I'd love to have you back again another time. It's just, ever since you and I connected, it was just a wonderful, very synergistic connection. So loved having you, and thank you for sharing all that you did here today on the episode.
Absolutely. It's been my pleasure.
Marcy is a wealth of wisdom. I have 5 quick and powerful takeaways for you today. Number 1, the questions you ask shape your freedom. So instead of labeling yourself as an addict or anything else, really, just ask, could my life be better if I tried something else? Or if I tried doing life without this, whatever it is? Let curiosity, not judgment, lead your journey and make the changes that you need and want to become the best version of you. Number 2, small changes can result in big results. You don't have to overhaul your whole life. I mean, not all at once anyway. Maybe you want to overhaul your whole life, but you can do that with just one little step at a time, one intentional choice. So make one change today. One small change can open the door to lasting transformation so you can be the person that you've always wanted to be. Number 3, addiction is not about weakness. It's really about wiring. Our brains learn patterns over time from when we were little kiddos to our current day. They learn from the choices we make and the experiences that we have and really our own self-talk. But the great news is that it can also unlearn things and our brains can learn new patterns. And yes, it does take some intention, but it's so doable and it may not be as hard as you think. Number 4, ironically, the better our boundaries, the more freedom we have. I tell you, putting up good boundaries and having an impenetrable wall where you always say no to certain things that you know harm you or set you on a bad path, man, that just gives your mind and body peace and allows you to make space for the life that you enjoy. Boundaries are not punishment, they're protection, and they give us the peace of mind that we need to make the changes and the growth and dream the dreams that we want to dream. And number 5, our identity matters. When we stop identifying ourselves by the struggles we have and instead focus on our accomplishments, the achievements, the times we didn't give up, the storms we weathered, when we focus on how far we've come, well, then we make room to embrace the amazing future God has for us because we know if we made it through those things, God will be there and help us to accomplish the goals in our next chapter as well. Hey, thank you friends for joining me today. If you would, please share this episode because you never know what kinds of encouragement might be in our conversation here that someone else you know needs to hear. So pass it along, share it, like it, and subscribe. Let's together flood the world with more encouragement. Until next time, stay encouraged, be inspired, and I'll see you next time right back here at the Sunshine Cafe.